All right, I'm gonna go with the screen and then I will check back every now and then to see if there's anybody in the chat chatting it up or asking a question or anything like that. Okay, here we go. All right, so my name is Michelle Gonzalez Smith, and I am coming from the beautiful island of Maui. My husband and I have been stationed out here for about 2 years and change. He is in the Air Force, and that's what brought us all the way over here. And it has been quite an interesting experience. One would think, you're in paradise. So, what is there to be wrong? You can go to a beach anytime you want. And all those things are very correct, but we're still thousands of miles away from friends and family. We're still a newlywed couple, and they're just everyday challenges. We're still living in 2020 in the United States of America, and so there's still a lot of challenges that come even when you're in paradise. And so I thought it was appropriate to maybe talk, when we're talking self-care, to talk about different ways that we can incorporate wellness into our lives. And I'm sure every panelist has touched on that today, and so here's a little more touching. So just a little bit about me. I moved to Puerto Rico when I was, oh gosh, when I was 29, about to be 30. I'm 39 now. I decided that, honestly, God spoke to me and told me that I needed to go to Puerto Rico. And I needed to specifically live with my paternal grandmother. And this was very interesting because my paternal grandmother is not your typical bakes the cookies, warm and fuzzy, fills you with kisses grandma. I really didn't know her very well. And what I did know of her, she was very stoic and kind of standoffish, but at least she spoke English and I didn't really speak too much Spanish. So it was really a journey on getting to know myself, my history, my culture, Spanish, things like that. And so I embarked on this journey following God, and I headed to Puerto Rico. And, there was a lot that I learned there, and that could probably be its own presentation in itself. But during that time, I became a certified yoga instructor. And part of that was filling my wellness toolkit. And that's something that I love to talk about because I was, going to church, I was praying, I was spending time with family, but I was a fish out of water. And and it was challenging, just trying to communicate with my grandma, because although when I was younger she spoke English, she's been in Puerto Rico for a really long time. And so we did have that language barrier. We also had the barrier of her just being very serious, not offering too much. You're always trying to go to her for a conversation. And so that wears on you a bit. I was also 29, almost 30, in a rural part of Puerto Rico where most people married their high school sweethearts. I was single at the time, or their friends, they already have their friend group. And I'm like, considered old at 29 over there. So it was a lot going on. And I found peace and a community in this little yoga studio. And I was going so often that I ended up becoming an instructor, because they had a training session during that time, and it all just kind of fit in a very beautiful way. And so by August of 2017, I finally hosted my first yoga retreat in Puerto Rico, very close to the town where I had been with my grandma. And during that time, shortly thereafter, I was still in Puerto Rico during Hurricane Maria, which brought its own set of challenges. As you know, there was a long period of time, what felt like a very long period of time, where we had no communication with anyone in the outside of Puerto Rico. No one knew whether we were dead or alive. And it was just me, my dad, and my grandma figuring it out with no electricity. And yeah, it was a lot of stress, to say the least. And so we made it out of there. And during this time, I had met my future husband. And so I moved to North Dakota and I got married. And then I'm on my honeymoon, freshly married, loving life, enjoying my husband. And I realized I've got all these white spots on my face and white spots on my neck. And that's when I realized, or, shortly thereafter, that I had vitiligo. And vitiligo, if you don't know, is where you lose the melanin in your skin, and can be permanent. They say there's no cure for it. And really, there's no physical effects of it, right? In terms of other than your skin whitening, but the psychological and the self-esteem and all that comes with it is can be very troubling, especially for a woman and a newly married woman. Um, and so when we got back from the honeymoon, we were still unpacking our home in North Dakota, and then he got orders to come to Maui. And so we got sent to Maui, and this was like back to back to back to back. And then I hosted my second yoga retreat in Maui in August of 2019. And now currently I'm working for a nonprofit youth mentoring organization and encouraging wellness through my monthly Wellness with Michelle newsletter. And I started actually uploading very short videos. Okay. And the reason I'm giving you all this backstory and all this like up and down roller coasters, because you've got your own set of bullets that can be your own roller coaster. We're all going through it, and these are all things that tend to sometimes just weigh on us, and you need a toolkit to help you kind of just let go a little bit and realize that you can face today, you can face tomorrow, whatever's to come, one foot in front of the other. And we need that so much now, more than ever, honestly. And so, my question to you, well, what is a wellness toolkit? Do you have a wellness toolkit? So for me, the wellness toolkit is like this little like imaginary kit of things that it's like, okay, what's happening today? What do I need to to switch this feeling that I might feel, the heaviness I might feel, maybe stress or anger or sadness. What can I use? What is my bag of tricks? And if you do have one, what are you currently using from your toolkit? Because we can have a toolkit all we want, but if it's under our bed and it's like, oh yeah, I used to wake up and stretch. I used to wake up and pray. I used to, then that toolkit is of no use to us, right? You don't use it, you lose it, and you start feeling lost. So I think, my purpose and my intention here today is to remind you of your toolkit, to encourage you to find it, and maybe add some new things into it. And so let's get into it. But before we do that, let me check on this chat and see if there's anybody sticking to my word. This is weird seeing myself, but it's okay. Here we go. Just in case. All right. Wonderful. Hey, Deidre. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and the support always. All right. So let's go back to our PowerPoint. All right. Okay. So this is a very long list of my toolkit. And it's grown since I've been here on Maui, and I've been really purposeful about taking a look at it and seeing what needs to be added in and what just really fills me. So, prayer and meditation is number one. Um, Without a doubt, you just finding that quiet time and space and going within is super important. I prayed just before I got on here, just looking to make sure that I'm being used in the way that is intended, that I'm walking in my purpose, and that what I say is not of me, but is of something greater. And so that's a number one in my toolkit. Deep breathing techniques, and we'll go into that. That's why it has an asterisk next to it. We'll go into that in the next slide. But man, breath. There were some times here that there were, it's political season, and there were some caravans going around, and I would be just driving with my husband or driving by myself and seeing this and feeling so many feelings, especially feeling like my peace had been disturbed and altered in some way, and there was an assault on me. I took it very personally. And so I would have to incorporate some of these deep breathing techniques as to not react or not blow my horn or not, just to go within for a little bit. So we'll review some of those techniques. Also, visualization and parts work. you know when it seems like you can't leave the house, there's a pandemic outside, you can't see your family. Even if I could travel, it wouldn't even be safe for me to necessarily see the family that I hold near and dear, and that weighs on you. So having a visualization, having something to look forward to, dreaming, is really, really important. And then parts work, which is something that I've discovered recently and I've been doing in my therapy, which is the next bullet point. Therapy has been huge for me. It has really helped me to understand more deeply about the things I carry that may not even be mine, that they might be my mom's or my dad's, or they might be stuff from when I was like 5 years old and I'm still somehow holding on to. And so that has been a huge for me to be able to do that. And because of COVID, I've been able to do it in the comfort of my home over video chat like we are right now, but still somehow feeling a connection and finding myself, continuing to find myself in the process. The next one is maintaining contact with friends and family. And this one I have been on a roller coaster about. And when I'm not really feeling my best and I've forgotten where my toolkit is, and things just feel heavy, I sometimes am not contacting the friends and family that I might normally contact. And it has to be a purposeful effort to remind yourself that you are surrounded, you are loved, you are cherished, you are needed in whatever circles you're in. And I think that we forget that a lot, how needed we are, how much of a part we play in our individual communities, even when we feel so alienated. So just a simple phone call, a text message would do, but sometimes you really don't get that connection that you could get if you just picked up the phone and dialed and heard the voice on the other end. Supportive partnerships, and this one is a little bit different than I think maintaining contact with friends and family. And that's because whatever partnerships you have, for me, it's just me and my husband here. And I'm so thankful of the man I married because of his patience and his flexibility and his understanding of what it takes to be in partnership, and making sure that you're sewing into those partnerships. The people that cheerlead you, the Deirdres of your life, the Phils of your life, the list goes on. Fill in the blank of the name, making sure that you're really feeding those relationships in a meaningful way, getting your mind off of you and putting it onto them, and finding how you can support them. And in doing that, you end up raising your own energy level, your own encouraging level, right? Because the teacher teaches what they need to hear. And then the next one is keeping your young energy around you. Okay, so like I said, I work for a youth organization. I work with elementary and middle school children. I also have five nephews and nieces, right? Beautiful, ranging in age from 1 all the way up to 17 already. And so all of that youthful energy, I have a cousin that I consider to be like my protege slash best friend. She's in her 20s, really keeping that energy, because there's a positivity, there's a different way of seeing things that they show you, and you can discover through their eyes. Also, it helps to just forget about all the adulting things that can weigh us down when you're just talking Fortnite. I have two stepsons. I mean, I'm now playing Fortnite. Like, I never thought that would be the case, but it helps me to connect with them in a different way. And so keeping that young energy around is supremely important for your toolkit. Reminding yourself of when you were that, innocent, or when you were dreaming the way they dream, or seeing the world the way they see it. You should still be seeing the world that way to a degree. Alone time and seclusion is necessary for me. I need to fill up again. I need to, whether it's I'm going away to pray and meditate, whether it's I'm just laying in the bed looking out the window at the trees, whether I'm just having some me time and filling my cup and whatever makes me happy, you have to kind of carve out that time, and everyone's houses are different. I am not, it does not, like, I don't have children in the home all the time. And I get that. And I get that there's a certain level of freedom that I have as a result of that. And I have plenty of friends and family that do have children in the home all day, every day. And so, making sure that once they're asleep, maybe there's some time that you keep sacred. Maybe before they wake up, there's some time that you keep sacred. Or maybe they just know, hey, mom or dad, this is their time. Hey, I'm going to take some time. Let's set the timer, 10 minutes. I'll be right back. But if you need anything, come and get me. And just start trial and error, figuring out how you can do that, because not only are you doing it for yourself, but you're teaching it to your children on how to create their boundaries, how to express when they need time. As they continue to grow and get older, they're going to have to they may not know how to express it. And so part of our job as teaching our nephews and nieces and sons and daughters and cousins is showing them in your behavior how you take that time away and why you're taking that time away. The next one is physical activity. Um, for me, I can't go more than 2 or 3 days without doing something active, whether it's going for a walk, going for a run, doing some yoga, doing some weight training, something. I need to have some sort of physical activity for the biological effects of the endorphins and the encouragement that it gives me, that I just reminding myself how thankful I am that I have lungs that work, that I have legs that work, that I have arms that can lift these weights, you know, being thankful for the body given to me and really trying to treat it as a temple. Rest is something that I'm getting better at. But rest is just as important as a physical activity. Going days on end with 4 hours of sleep, 2 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep is going to eventually wear on not only your physical body, but your emotional well being. You cannot, your brain needs to relax, your body needs to relax. So you cannot keep on and keep on and keep on burning the candle at both ends and then expecting, nothing to happen. And I went through something similar in my early 20s. I was in radio and I was up at 4 in the morning working. I mean, I was getting 2, 3 hours of sleep because I was doing a morning show at 4 in the morning, having to be there 3:30, staying in the office till 7 o'clock at night sometimes. I mean, there was a day or two that I was literally sleeping and driving. It was, I could have died in a terrible accident because I was just going, 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 going. And so learning again how to create those boundaries and making sure you're getting adequate rest is not only good for you, but those who are around you. Fresh fruits and vegetables daily, obviously, all part of that temple life, right? Taking care of that temple, making sure your digestion is good, helping you with your eyesight, helping you with your bones as you continue to age. All those fruits and vegetables help all of that happen. Unplugging has been a game changer for me in the last 2 months, I want to say 2 or 3 months. I saw a documentary on Netflix. I think it's called The Social Dilemma, and I already knew a lot of the things in this documentary, but I was definitely getting caught up in the politics of our day, and the left versus the right, and the activism, and getting really angry and feeling, deleting people off of my Facebook. And it was it was too much. And I was also spending just hours scrolling, and then thinking and comparing, and why is my hair, maybe I should dye my hair again, and why is my hair so white at this age, and all of these things. And not to mention, I'm still dealing with the vitiligo day to day. So now you're seeing all these beautiful faces and makeup free and all this stuff. And I just kind of had to unplug so that I could recenter and focus on the world in front of me, changing the world in front of me, and knowing that the ripple will ripple out, you know? Um, Time in nature has been easier because we are in Maui, and because the tourism really came to a halt here, and so places that we have never had to ourselves, we now had to ourselves. We found ourselves just like adventuring to different places and trying to find new ways to just be out in the sunshine, because we quickly realized that being indoors, I'm working from home, my husband is not, but I'm working from home. I'm in this house, for multiple hours of the day. And while I have windows, there's nothing like your feet on the grass. I mean, what I wouldn't do to walk in freshly fallen snow and hear that crunch under my feet. I mean, those are the things that I hold on to. And sure, you can say like, oh, but the cold and the this and the that. Let's just focus on the positive of it. You're in it anyway. So what can we do to make sure that our time in nature is something that we can hold on to, and we can really be excited about, and we can look at it with childlike eyes and childlike wonder, which is why keeping that young energy around you is really, really important. Massages, you know that I need it. Hair care, just taking care of my hair, just waking up. And even though I don't have to go to an office, even though I don't have to put my camera on to be in my Zoom meetings most times, even though I could stay in my pajamas if I wanted to, getting dressed, getting taking care of my hair, braiding it versus having it curly, straightening it, all of those things make me feel better, make me embrace my femininity, make me understand my womanhood, and they help me to show up in a different way than if I just said, well, what does it matter anyway? Nobody's going to see me. Coloring has been therapeutic for me as well. Um, just simple finding an adult coloring book or a kid coloring book and just coloring, going out into nature, sitting down somewhere where there's grass and a nice view, and just coloring, listening to some of my favorite music, having random little conversations, side conversations with whoever's with me, or I'm just by myself doing this, or journaling. But coloring, I definitely journaling. It's too much thinking for me. So the coloring is just I just go, and it's a type of meditation, honestly. Mask making. I listen. We need masks, and I have a sewing machine, and I'd love to learn how to sew. So I started YouTubing and trying to figure out how to make masks. Now, most times it got me more angry than it did happy, so that's at the bottom of my toolkit. But it is, again, another way of just being creative. And then video editing, I do, like I said, I started doing some short videos, so trying to take advantage while we were out in nature and we have these beautiful surroundings, trying to share it without doing the, oh, look at me, I'm in paradise, this is wonderful. How can I show you paradise, have you feel what it feels like, and also give you something, a 5-minute stretch, a 10-minute, nothing is more than 5 minutes, honestly. So the videos are all 5 minutes or under, something that you could jump into, make that your alone time, jump out of, maybe incorporate with your children, things like that. And then the final one is outside the box ideas. Date nights in your backyard. I'll get back to shark heads. Van life. I have now gone down the YouTube rabbit hole of van conversion life, because I just love the idea of getting in like a mobile home, parking wherever I want, and just being in nature and being away. So that's one of my, without a doubt, toolkits. And then mani pedis, the sticker. My new obsession is the sticker. Nail polishes, you just put it on literally like a sticker and you file it off. I don't have any on today, and it's so easy, and there's no wet nails, and it's amazing, and it doesn't become drama, and again, it helps me just feel alive. It reminds me of my womanhood and my femininity. And then now back to the shark head. So on Halloween, I had a very difficult time. I just had one of those mornings that I just woke up and I was just not feeling my best, and it happens. I mean, this is life, right? And so my husband and I are laying talking, and I just had this feeling of, I want to be out in nature doing this. Like, I want to be laying on grass on a picnic blanket, talking to him, having this conversation. I don't want to be in this house. And so we tried and failed miserably for multiple reasons. And fast forward, I'm just kind of, we're just not in a good space, not feeling good, and expressing this to my husband. And once I let it out, because crying is part of my wellness toolkit as well, because you got to let your emotions out. You got to feel them. You have to recognize that they are there. And so once I let that out, I felt way better. And then I remembered that my stepson had a shark head in the house, and we had decided we are going to go to check out the sunset. And I was like, let's take like the shark head, and you take something else like a hat or whatever, just in case there's like discount. I'm always looking for a discount. There's like discounts at a restaurant, and if we have a costume, and then we just boom, put it on and we'll get our discount. Wonderful. And so we took it and we did that. But when I'm in the car, I'm thinking about the shark head, and I'm thinking about how funny it would be if I just sat in the car while my husband drove with the shark head on. And I mean, it's a big shark head. And so I put it on, and it just changed everything. I mean, it was like that morning hadn't happened. That whole day hadn't happened. And it was just turning the day on its head by being creative in some way, and making other people smile made me feel lighter and better and good. And sometimes that's all it takes. So maybe you don't need a shark head, but maybe you need to volunteer somewhere, or maybe you need to do something like that. And that can become a keystone in your wellness toolkit. Let me check. Okay, I'm getting off my soapbox. Let me check what's happening over here. Okay. All right, cool. No questions, no chats. Wonderful. Okay. So I said I was going to touch on this more, the visualization and the parts work that I've been doing. The parts work is called internal family systems, just in case you're interested, and it's the understanding or the idea that our inner parts contain really valuable qualities of our that our core self knows how to heal. So an example of this is like, you feel tremendous sadness, and you're not sure why you're feeling this way or what's going on. And so it's visualizing, it's, closing your eyes, centering yourself, getting quiet, and visualizing, locating that sadness in your body, because you feel whether it's in your chest, or you feel it in your spine, or you feel it in your belly, or sometimes it's in your throat. Locating that, and then, I mean, this is going to sound woo woo, but having a conversation with yourself. So yourself is having a conversation with the part of you that is sad, the part of you that is angry. Usually if you have a part of you that's angry, it's rooted in fear. The anger is easy. The fear we don't really want to deal with. So if someone who's angry a lot, or who pops off all the time, a lot of times that's a very scared person. And so just going internally and checking in with that, having a conversation with that, and discovering, but being patient. It's better if obviously someone is guiding you through it. But I've done it at home when I've felt that come on. And sometimes those parts of you, the sadness, the anger, the fear, the joy, sometimes it just wants to be seen. It's kind of like when you're trying to have a conversation with your best friend, or someone you really feel close to, and they're trying to give you advice, and you're like, I don't want advice. Like, and they're saying, well, why did you come talk to me if you don't want advice? And it's like, you just want them to be witnesses to what you're feeling. You just want to witness to what you have to say. You don't necessarily need them to fix it. You just want to share that space. And that's kind of the same thing, but internally. And one thing I want to touch on with the idea of maintaining contact with friends and family, having supportive partnerships, and therapy, like, those are three different, like, I don't believe that your friends and family should be your therapists, or your partner should have to take on the load of all that might be happening here that you might need to speak about, that might be super personal, or that might just be like you're working it out. That's what, for me, that's what therapy is for. That's what prayer is for. That's what meditation is for, because it's your work. And for you to put those things on the people that you love is can be selfish to a degree. And so just being very aware of that, that as we interact in our relationships, that we're not burdening those that we love with all that's happening here and here. So now let's do some deep breathing, because like I said, that's a key element to making sure, or to recentering yourself. It could be done in literally 5 seconds. It can be done anywhere. So I have two different types of breathing I mean, it's the same technique, but two different ways to go about it. One is, hands on the belly, feeling that belly expand, and then feeling the belly button come into the spine. That's one. And then the other one is, you don't want to have your hands on your belly because maybe you're at, you're in line, and you need to recenter yourself because it's a new cashier, and you got this mask on, and you just want to get out of this store, and the cashier is taking forever because she doesn't know the register, and you need to center yourself. There's another technique that you can do using your hand, and this one is really good for kids too. Being able to teach them, like, all right, let's take a deep breath in as you bring that finger up, fill up that belly, and then slowly exhale out as you go down the roller coaster. Inhale as you come up, exhale as you go down. So I want us to do this collectively as a community. You can have your choice. You can practice your roller coaster fingers, which I think is almost poetic, right? Because that's what we're dealing with all the time. Or you can have your hands on your belly, feeling that breath, fill that belly up, and then exhaling and feeling now that belly button pressing into the spine. I prefer that type of breathing rather than the counting, because sometimes I get all like, oh, what number is it? And then I feel myself, getting anxiety, and then I'm just not breathing well at all. So the less I have to think, the better. And that's just what works for me. So either hands on your belly or fingers on your fingers. And let's do this collectively and together, closing those eyes. You can lay down on your favorite couch or bed, or you can sit in your chair with your feet planted on the ground, feeling the four corners of your feet on the ground. Relax the face. And then gently, we want to start taking a nice deep breath in through the nose as we feel that belly button pressing out away from the spine. And then gently begin to let that belly button come closer to the spine as you exhale out. Feel those shoulder blades loosening. Feel the eyes loosening. Feel the mouth loosening. The tongue is separating from the roof of the mouth, continuing to breathe in as that belly button comes out, and you have a beautiful tummy in your hands. And then exhaling it as the belly button presses into the spine. Continuing our breath here, I'm just going to transition to the hands. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Maybe you visualize yourself on that roller coaster, inhaling, going up, 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 up. What a beautiful view. Exhale, going down, 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 letting it all out. Inhale, up, 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 up. And exhale, down, 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 down. Gently begin to open your eyes. You can stretch it out if you want. I would add a smile. Shake it out. Beautiful. And that can be every morning. That can be before you take a shower. That could be in the shower. There's so much you can do with that and be creative with. So I want you to now take some time to consider, what are some things you'd like to add to your own wellness toolkit? And I posed that question earlier. And you don't have to feel obligated to share it in the chat. If you want to, wonderful. I would encourage that. Or if you want to turn your mic on and your camera and speak on it, even better. But also remember that this has to be a purposeful action. So you can say, like, oh yeah, I'd love to walk around with a shark head, but that's not your personality. You got to buy the shark head, you know. Like, so what? Let's make sure it's something that is, you know, you're able to do in, hopefully, this weekend, whether it's between today or tomorrow or maybe by Monday. Just one small thing that you haven't been doing that maybe was in your toolkit before, but you know, you lost it or you forgot about it or it fell under the bed somewhere. Dust that baby off and put it back in, or maybe it's something new that you need to grab and put in there. And then think about, how are you going to do it? It's not grand, a baby step. And now with that visualization, with that thought pattern, I want us to just do 5 more breaths, whether it's with the hand or whether it's hands on the belly, closing your eyes, relaxing your face, and thinking about your wellness toolkit and allowing that one thing, that easy one thing that could, you know, that maybe you've been avoiding or maybe you've been really meaning to do. And let's set that intention and make that happen. So once again, let's take that deep breath, inhaling and exhaling. The exhale could be through the mouth or the nose, whatever tickles your fancy. Inhale, exhale. 3 more. Last one. Beautiful. Whatever that was that came up, I would encourage you to write it down, make a note, and commit to making that happen for yourself. My videos, the short little quick videos, I only have 3 up right now that are on my YouTube channel, and you can just search Wellness with Michelle on the YouTube channel. You could also sign up for my free newsletter, which also, whenever I have a video, I'll put that out into the newsletter on wellnesswithmichelle.com. Feel free to email me, wellness, that same exact thing, at gmail.com. And I just thank you so much for giving me your time, your energy, your focus, your breath. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Okay, so hi. So thank you so much, Michelle. That was beautiful, and I really love what you did there, because we all have our modalities and our toolbox. Oh, and I forgot, you actually can't hear us. So again, I was just going to say thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was a great one. For those that are still on the line, our film is starting. Actually, I think it started just a few moments ago. So feel free to go ahead and hop over there. Again, Michelle, thank you. It was great. And it's really important that we all kind of know what's in our toolbox and making sure that we're adding to and doing some great things. So again, thank you.